It's Kinneth. For a couple of years, I'd been experiencing a great deal of pain in just general life function, and I've had both knees replaced, and I've had so much pain in my lower back and hip that I decided I'd go back to the guy that did the hip surgery over in Lubbock, Texas. So went in there and talked to Dr. Gill, and I said, I'm having a lot of pain. Does that indicate maybe I need a hip replacement after I've done the knees? He sent me to a neurologist, and they ran some of the scans and all of this bunch of stuff, and then sent the report back to him, and also sent the report to the primary care physician that I go to in Lubbock. Her name is Chandra Dehenia, and she's one I've been going to for about 12 years now. Just really good doctor. So she called and she said, Kenneth, I need to talk to you. Can you come? And gave me a date. So I went in, and she came in. We sat in the examining room, and she began explaining to me that the results of the test that the neurologist had done indicated. She mentioned one of the technical terms was spondylolisthesis, and she said this is a arthritic spurring of the spine and some of the joints in your body. And as she was talking about this, she stood up and motioned for me to stand up. She came over, she put her arms around me, and there were tears in her eyes, and she kissed me, and she said, Kenneth, I love you, and I want to tell you this is not curable. So I walked out of there in that condition that day, and started talking to a friend of mine up in Oklahoma City about it. That guy, he and I have worked together for a number of years, and wondering what I'm going to do about this. And in the course of a day or two, he forwarded me email with a report from Dr. Shallenberger, something that he'd found online. And we got talking about that, and then also doing a lot of research online and one thing and another to find out more about this, and then came up with the AAOT.US, the American Academy of Ozone Therapy, and got to checking that out and found out a lot more about Dr. Shallenberger. Plus, looked like he's trained people all over the United States and in South America, and just looking at the comments, and it was very interesting. Well, and since Lubbock's kind of my primary place for going to for medical treatment, there's nobody in Lubbock. So we were discussing that one day, and my friend up there in Oklahoma said, Kenneth, you need to go directly to the horse's mouth. So I made arrangements to come to Carson City and see Dr. Shallenberger, and originally the appointment was set for the 26th of March. And I decided I'd get off the painkillers that had been on for a couple of years. They were stuff off the shelf and stuff modified with opiates and morphines and all that bunch of mess that didn't do anything, just made me kind of numb all day anyway. But I'd have all that out of my system the time I got here. I started calling and asking, hey, can you move up on the date? I'm hurting. And interestingly enough, Judy Shallenberger called me on Thursday night, March the 15th, and said, we've had a cancellation, can you be here Monday at 9 o'clock? I said, you bet. And to kind of get myself in the right frame of mind, I decided to drive out here. So I got in my pickup and headed this way, got into an awesome snowstorm and all kind of mess, and wouldn't stop because I didn't want to be delayed. But I got here and went through the routine, getting signed in and running a few tests and this kind of thing. And Dr. Shallenberger called me back into the examining room, and we talked for a bit about where the pain was in the hip and both shoulders and all of this. And as he was doing something in the syringes and everything while he was talking to me, finally he said, okay, said, I'm ready to give you the injections. And he said, I'm going to tell you this is going to hurt. So he gave me injections in my hip and both shoulders, and then he looked at me and he said, how's that? And I said, "Doctor, there's no more pain." And literally, since the 19th of March, when he gave those first injections, I've not had one aspirin, nothing for pain. Now, I was here for about a little better than a week the first time, going through the lab exams and more injections and one thing and another. And after that, he told me, he said, "I'd like to see you again on April the 12th." So I was back out for another round of treatments then. And after that day, when he sent me home, he said, "I'll need to see you again in 2 months." So I'm back here today on June the 18th. But literally, not one aspirin since he gave me the initial inoculation on the 19th of March. And it's such a great life that after basically 2 years of living with pain that just couldn't stand and just kind of being numb, I'd gotten to the point that I said, well, the only way to handle this is just go out and throw myself under the bus and get it over with. But he's literally given me my life back, and I'm enjoying it.